Yes, thank you for calling us in today to ask us about this. We know that many people are affected by this and many people are still confused with the actions that occur and how that will unfold and affect the soul. The question was about suicide and if people will get stuck in a lower vibration if they commit suicide, and will they be trapped there forever? And does this mean that they will not be able to transcend or go to source? So while we can't talk in specifics of every single person who has committed suicide in history, we can give you very general information to be able to help you be able to ponder and then be able to use your own intuition and your own knowledge to guide, navigate yourself through these questions so you can be able to answer them for yourselves and feel intuitively where that feels right for you. Once upon a time, when your civilization was different, when in different lifetimes, and even to an extent this lifetime, people who committed suicide, they were taking that exit point to be able to recalibrate, write down new contracts for lives and come back, and they had extra karma that they needed to work out that lifetime where they sort of escaped early, shall we say. And then when the next new lifetime that they had, they still had to complete their missions. There is no hell. So no one who has committed suicide goes to hell. While there is no one placing karma on yourself apart from yourself, karma is not a punishment. Karma is merely a statement that you didn't fully succeed in what you wanted to learn and experience in this lifetime. Please remember that when you die, when you choose your certain exit points, this is arranged not just by you and your conscious mind. This is orchestrated with your higher selves, your subconscious, your spiritual guides and team. So this is not a one-off thing that you can do on a whim. And if people are, shall we say, allowed to commit suicide, all of the pros and cons for this have been measured and weighed up. If this is a new exit point that hasn't been predetermined before you came to this planet for your lifetime. So we want to say to you that nothing happens for an accident. There is always beautiful purposes and lessons, and there is no good and bad. There is no punishment. Remember, you're all, to some degree, in other lifetimes, you have chosen when you want to die. So you are all in control of when you die. So technically all deaths are a form of suicide. You get to choose how you do it. And the whole purpose of coming to Earth to have your many lifetimes and experiences, to experience all. So think about this when you're writing down how you're going to perish in that lifetime. Or you've had one where you have been burnt to death, you've had one where you died of natural causes, you've had one that's a heart attack, you've had one that's drowning, you have had one that has been through murder. Like, think about all the fun experiences and the different experiences and the learning experiences when you are processing that and experiencing that. And while this feels very morbid for some, this is all part of the learning journey. You come here to experience all, so why would your deaths be anything different? There is many different ways to die and experience it, and suicide is one valid exit process that you choose. And of course, there may be people that want to commit suicide many different ways to experience that. And it's not just your own contract that you want to experience your exit point that way. The people in your lives also have agreed and wanted to experience the loss of a loved one, a co-worker, a colleague, a friend, or a family member in that way. In each certain different ways, so you can grow as well. You're all one. You're all experiencing situations that you're all involved with and connected to. So it's never just about you, really. You impact so many people, regardless of how you exit, the people that are left behind. So, of course, we're saying this in past, because this is how things were happening in the past. And we know that things are about to be quite different as you transcend off this planet. And so there are people who will commit suicide after this shift and event. There are those people who want to go back to their home planets, and those people who are done with their lifetimes and they will go back to source. So the people who are transcending through this shift are the ones going to the new earth. There are people who have chosen to be able to commit suicide after the event to then be able to be reincarnated back onto the new, or sorry, reincarnated onto the new earth, not back to, sorry. So therefore, this is not something that you should worry about if this is a heavy topic for you, if your mortality is very uncomfortable for you. Do not dwell on this. Do not dwell on this. This is purposeful for everyone to experience, and potentially many of you have had many times where you have died in all different types of ways, and you have chosen to transcend this time because you do not need to have any more new vantage points or experiences. Learning how to die in different experiences. We understand this is something that is uncomfortable for some to ponder and consider, and regardless of whether you ignore it or make peace with it or still get triggered by it, it is going to happen. While on the new earth, there is no such thing as death, because you simply just upgrade and you evolve more and more and more into your crystalline bodies. And this is very positive. It is a beautiful parting. It is a very beautiful progression, and everyone celebrates. And this has been lost on your planet here. The graduation of leaving one lifetime to start another has never been really honored as such when you have lost the information about the reincarnation process. And many people still worry that there is just one lifetime that we get to live. And it's, for some people, they only want one lifetime. That's enough for them, they're good. And others, you have had thousands. So it is, again, all about your own individual soul contracts and experiences you wanted to learn at this point in your experience and your growth for yourself. We want to say that it is merely like a encyclopedia of your life. All of your lifetimes are put into one big book, and each life is a page, and you have volumes and volumes and volumes of your experiences. It is hard to comprehend from this vantage point, perspective point, but it is something that you know intuitively. Your subconscious knows it. However, your ego and your conscious mind is very concerned because it is experiencing its own first lifetime as such, and it will not continue on in the same way soon. So it is sensing that there is change, and it does not want to change. It wants to keep doing its and serving and keep protecting you and guiding you itself. So there is a lot of little changes like that some people are noticing, and that is fine. There is no karma. We've discussed that. Moving forward, and because so many people have gone off path so much, really, for what they originally wanted to experience on Earth, things have become impossible to graduate from. And so you are not placing karma on yourselves because it is too impossible. You've grown so much. You've learned more than you ever could have fathomed being here on Earth. And so your original purpose of coming here to explore has just, the expansion of it is huge. So when you go to New Earth, or when you go back to Source, or when you go to your own planets, you will only reflect back on your lifetime with pride and be impressed with all the growth that you've learned and be profoundly marinated in. So there is no failing in life, and it is something we want you to really profoundly understand. Nothing you can really do is a failure. It is about meeting challenges, struggling sometimes with those challenges, and growing through those challenges, and growing through those challenges, and meeting the standards that you need to be able to move forward and explore new challenges. We understand that the energy has been so tremendous that many of you have felt so exhausted being here for so long. Your subconscious is just exhausted in certain ways, because they also know that there is a lot going on. So it's very, very, very busy times for everyone, and the energy is raising up. But it's still very heavy. The more you awaken to the truth of all, the more demotivated you are with life, and just staying here feels very impossible. So we understand that most light workers, when you fully become awoken, you just want to end it, because you know there is something much better on the other side. And this is very challenging for many to keep being here, being present, still validating and still respecting the lives you're currently in. It's very easy to just suddenly want out, because you know the grass is greener on the other side, shall we say. But the grass that you're on now is still the grass that you need to work on and attend and trim and feed and nurture. And we like this analogy a lot. So while we can't go into specifics of each individual person who commits suicide, where they're going right now, we want you to know, if you have experienced the suffering of a lost loved one through suicide, know that they're okay. Know that they're not trapped in some hell. Know that they are experiencing and observing from a different perspective now, which is at a higher dimensional perspective. Please consider that if they have been able to commit suicide, this was agreed upon with their higher selves, and that this was for the betterment. It's the best output for them. Potentially, they could have gone and done a lot more damage to others and themselves if they had stayed on. This is not judgment. This is just something that is quite common if you are very overwhelmed with life, and you need an exit point. It is acceptable for us to accept that, given the times. Some bodies do have complete walk-ins, where the soul essences merge and release themselves from the body to be able to go into healing environments, to healing realms, to go into learning realms, or simply because they've just wanted to last that long and it was supposed to be a exit point, but they have got a contract with another soul to be able to take over the bodies and be able to live out the lives that they were supposed to have, or potentially could have had. And so there is so much going on there. We never want you to go into fear and worry really about this. You must remember and consider the bigger picture here, and trust that while it may not all make sense to you now, that there is purpose and lessons for everything. And it is so important for you to remember there is no good and there's no bad. That's judgment. It's all just experiences. And when you understand that people get experiences through suicide, that is helpful for their soul's growth. They're learning how to potentially help others see the warning signs potentially of someone who is struggling. There is so much that you can learn from through the death experience, being a support person for someone who is dying and also for someone who is dying, especially with illnesses. You will have contracts to experience someone who has passed on with an illness. There's so much to learn from both sides of that. Again, we understand that people feel uncomfortable hearing about this because feels like this topic is still taboo, and it really is not. It is really not, and it simply is changing from one page of your encyclopedia of your soul's life and flipping the page over. There is nothing to fear. So we say this with much love, and we hope that we've clarified this and given you some food for thought. There is not much else we need to really advise you on at this point. You know it all within you. You just have to trust yourself. You have to really fine-tune and hone into your own intuition. And this is so important. And when you're starting to doubt your own intuition, that's when you're going to go sideways a bit. So please just stop resisting and stop wasting your energy on doubt and worry and fear. They no longer serve you. They no longer serve you. So if you find yourself worried about one thing or afraid of another thing or doubting another thing, really be mindful of those times and those moments. They are wasted energy for you. Quickly unpack it so you don't keep getting stuck in that loop. Bigger picture, everything has a purpose. There is no good or bad. And we leave this with you today with much love.